Hello monkeys, it is I, Yoshizekage, and welcome to another installment of my Newcastle United career series on Football Manager 22. Last time out we featured our first Premier League game against Norwich City, and it didn't go too well as we surrendered a 2-goal lead and missed a perfect chance to score a winning goal late on. Today we will be continuing through August in the Premier League and trying to win in our Carabao Cup second round match versus Sheffield Wednesday. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So, following the disappointing draw against Norwich, I looked at our training schedules to see if there was anything there that I could change for the coming game against Brentford on Saturday. After considering my options, I didn't think it was appropriate to change anything drastically. I instead focused on the next 2 weeks where we have 2 games against Sheffield Wednesday and Chelsea, the Sheffield Wednesday game being in the Carabao Cup and Chelsea being in the league, and we have a week off for Indian national break. I decided to change some of the schedule in there because I didn't want the team to become stagnant and constantly repeat the same processes over and over again. Hopefully these changes can make a difference going forward, but the immediate thing to focus on right now is Brentford. I also noticed that I had some of the units mixed up. There should always be for me a match review session after a game followed by a recovery session, so I had to change that. As you just saw, I decided that I was going to put Sean Longstaff on the loan list. His performances in pre-season and against Norwich City in the opening game of the season weren't very good, and I really wanted his development to quicken. Blackburn Rovers decided that they were going to take a chance on him, and I decided that it would be best for his development to let him go. We then turned our attention back to Brentford on Saturday and team selection and tactics. I decided to change up a few of the tactics, like I took out clear to wings and added pass out to fullbacks because, like I said in the last video, I wasn't happy with the amount of times Carl Darlow pumped the ball up long and we conceded possession quite cheaply in those instances. We also made significant changes to our set piece structure. I was again concerned with how much time and space we were given to our opponents in the box from corner kicks. There were a couple of times in the last game where we could have conceded goals, and I thought maybe changing how we set up and how we marked set pieces would help benefit us in those situations. Scouts came back with 2 players, Luis Enrique and Mateus Arezzo. Their attributes and player profiles are on screen now if you want to pause and have a closer look, but I felt that these 2 in particular were the type of player we were looking for going forward. Both are very young, both have high potential ratings, and both have high sellability. If we sign them and they don't work out, then we can always move them on for a profit. We also found out that Thomas Strakosha had been put on the transfer list for £3.3 million, and if I could have loaned him in, I would have done, but a transfer at this point wasn't particularly needed, as we have Carl Darlow, Mark Gillespie and Martin Dubravka, who's going to come back from injury soon. Next, we had our scout reports for the Brentford game, and I decided that we were going to look mostly at how they line up and their players more than anything really in the data. I decided, looking at their team, that probably Christian Eriksen, Rico Henry, Christian Ajer and Ivan Toney were their main threats. It was also nice to note that we had a very good week during training. There was no real bad performances and everyone seems to be enjoying and getting to grips with the training sessions that we've been putting out lately. After that, it's straight into the game, so here we go. So there you have it, a 2-1 victory over Brentford with Bruno Gamache and Chris Wood getting the goals, and Ivan Toney scored for Brentford. And I really think that we were very lucky to come away with the win there. Brentford probably deserved it on the balance of play, and Chris Wood and Jolinton really came on in the second half and genuinely changed the game for us. Wood with the goal, basically the last kick of the game as well. We can take that confidence into the next game against Sheffield Wednesday and hopefully progress in the Carabao Cup. Brentford really did deserve to win that game. They dominated possession, they dominated passing. We just had that little bit of extra quality in Jolinton and Chris Wood coming off the bench. Against Sheffield Wednesday, we are going to have to play a lot better. I think we should be strong enough to beat them, but you can never tell with football. One of the things I wanted to do before the end of the transfer window was sign a new centre-back to partner Sven Botman in defence. We hadn't been terrible in defence, but we hadn't been at our best, and I think a stronger first-team centre-back would probably do us the world of good. After looking at our squad, I decided that Federico Fernandez should be put on the transfer list. Hopefully we can get an offer in for him and we can free up some space in the squad for a new defender. My scouts identified Luis Felipe as someone who could be of use to us, so I looked at his profile and decided to put in a bid. I think it came up to £12.5 million and was accepted immediately. We offered him a 59k contract over 5 years. The last email I got before the Brentford game was regarding Federico Fernandez. Boca Juniors and Pachua of Mexico had both offered £2.4 million for him, and I thought considering the market that was the best we'd get, so I accepted them both. So, with the press conference done, it was time to make some final adjustments before we took on Sheffield United in the Carabao Cup. This was a game that I was really hoping to win because I feel like we can do really well in this competition this year. Maybe even push for a quarter-final place, depending on who we draw in the coming rounds. One last look over our first 11, and it was time to play Sheffield Wednesday. injury to Miguel Almiron wasn't as bad as I first thought it would be. He'd only be facing 3 or 4 weeks out on the sidelines. However, he joined Carl Darlow, Kieran Trippier and Martin Dubravka on the injury list. Hopefully we can get that under control, but we seem to be getting a few injuries lately and I'm quite concerned about that. And now for the Sheffield Wednesday match recap. Callum Wilson scored both goals and was by far the best player on the pitch, but I really wanted to give a special shout out to Joe Willock's performance. He got his first goal involvement since joining from Arsenal on a £25 million deal over the summer, and Joelinton, who has really played his way into first team contention with some fantastic performances lately. It will have Ryan Gravenberch looking over his shoulder, as I feel like the Dutch youngster isn't ready for first team football at this moment in time. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on that notification bell to get updated with any new videos that are out. And we'll see you next time.